Let's look at hard pushes, big pushes. They have all the problems of the other ones, but they're even more dangerous. There's a bunch of space between you, so you're probably not going to be able to make contact with his arms or do any kind of fancy defenses before he's on top of you. Now, when you do this slow, like a lot of other self-defense techniques, it looks like there's all this time and room to move around. However, in a real-world environment, anything outside of your vision, it's probably not a good idea to move into. So a lot of people, when they see these, they think, well, I'm going to move around, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, it's not impossible. It's a lot more difficult than you realize, because as soon as there's something out of your vision, you don't know what's there. Is there a table behind me? Is there a person there? Is there a curb over here? So anything that makes me move into an area that I can't see is problematic from the beginning. And you have to think about it. The one space that you're guaranteed to have to operate in is the space between you. Seems obvious, doesn't it? Because the attacker, in order to attack you, has to have a clear space. But when it comes to the fraction of a second you need to make decisions about where to go, the one place you know is free is the space between you and him. So that's one of the basic jiu-jitsu concepts about shutting down attacks and smothering them, is to be able to get in on the guy before he's able to make complete use of that space. The big push winds up, he may bend his legs, hits you hard, and if he gets you square, there's a good chance you're going to be knocked over or at least down. Pretty basic. Why it's so dangerous is because for this moment, as he hits me, from this moment until I recover my balance, there's nothing I can do. I can't punch the guy, I can't kick the guy, I can't flip the guy, I can't take him down on the ground and do a guard pass or whatever sport techniques you've been trained in. I'm destabilized, so I have to prevent that. Originally, the original Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu one that I learned many years ago was to go between the arms and get a flip, something like this. With a lot of practice, it can work. There's two main problems with this. Number one is that throwing an opponent is a skill in itself. You have to spend a lot of time on the mats doing your nege waza or throws. You need to do your judo or your stand-up jiu-jitsu. And that's another area of practice you may not have time to do. Secondly, it takes more time to be able to break the momentum, turn my body, and set the fulcrum, which is my hips. This is one I was taught many years ago, never done it in a real encounter, never felt comfortable doing it. However, the one I'm going to show you, I designed based on those principles, and I have used many times in real encounters, and it works as slick as snot on a door handle if you practice it right. Concept's the same. When the guy pushes on me, I'm going to shed the force from his arms. Now, if you look at this quickly, it looks like I'm doing this. I'm not. I'm just putting my hands up. Push hard. Back up again. Push hard. Okay? I'm bringing my arms up straight. In the same way that I can defend punches. I put my chin down in case the arms come flying and I get hit in the head. But all I'm doing is forming a wedge between him and I. So his arms come up, I'm going to wedge. He's going to slide right to me, and I need to get out of the way this way. So I use a neck or tie clinch. It's a lot easier than turning my body and trying to get my hips in. The only difficult part of this is to resist the temptation to try to push the arms out. This becomes two separate motions and it'll destroy the timing. He'll feel what happens, he'll pull up, or he'll just run into you. It's very difficult to do. What's simpler to do, but intuitively seems more difficult, is I just shoot my hands forward. That's what causes his arms to slide off against mine. And I'm able to step offline and either unbalance him, or best case scenario, I can whiplash him right to the ground. Remember, for that moment that he's preoccupied with pushing me, he expects contact to happen at this moment. He's putting everything he can into it. When that contact isn't there, but he doesn't get the information, he doesn't get a sudden stop, his brain gets the idea, I just have to push farther, I just have to, where is he, where is he, where is he? That makes it really easy to keep a guy off balance. So the idea is I just have to make sure that my arms are on the inside of his arms. So I aim for his shoulders, very much like the old punch blocks that we do in jiu-jitsu. So as he begins to push, I just make sure my arms are on the inside. His force is going to come sliding right by me. I'm going to feel it, very much like the pushes we did earlier with the web of my hand. Instead, I can feel it along the outside of my forearms. As that happens, I'm going to catch him by the head and step off line. His body weight and his head's going to keep going, and I circle behind and do a basic whiplash. You won't always get the takedown, depending on how heavy he is. That's always a factor. It's more difficult to throw a heavy guy off of balance simply because gravity is acting on him heavier. But I've done this again several times in real confrontations. I've had very good results, and it's a lot easier than trying to do a classic hip throw, and there's not as many nuances that you have to learn. Pulling a guy by his head is much easier to learn than trying to squat and pick him up with my hip and tie and everything.